All right. What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. We're flying solo as of the moment. Emilio will be joining us shortly. I know Tim and Jacob are out on assignment. We'll just say that. All right. Hopefully, everybody's having an awesome day out there as it is hump day, where it's all downhill from here, gang. Get into the rest of the week, get into the weekend. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like every weekend that goes by, it seems like it starts to feel a little more like football season. We're going to have training camp coming up as obviously the quarterbacks, rookies, and injured players will report on Friday, I believe it is. So we'll get those guys in-house. And then, of course, I think it's the 22nd Veterans Report, 23rd. Everybody out on the practice field that is healthy. Really, really excited. If you guys would hit that like button on the way in, feel free to sub if you're new here. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening and joining PTA. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We don't claim to be any of that. But we are fans just like you guys and gals out here talking about the Packers, diving into the tape, diving into the analytics, the statistics, and trying to figure out, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? And just following as closely along with the Green Bay Packers as we possibly can. So if you like that kind of content, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, hit that bell notification so you never miss a beat when we do go live for our live streams. So see everybody in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Really, really appreciate it. Let's just dive into the topics of the evening. We're going to be doing Jordan Love insight. We're going to be covering some of that. Just some kind of off the wall statistics that I feel like might be important for us to dive into a little bit as we get ready for Jordan Love's third year as the starting quarterback here in Green Bay. We're also going to talk about the Packers free agent additions and subtractions. And if we got time, we're going to dive into a little Brenton Cox Jr. Chalk talk. So we're going to break down some film tonight as well. I've seen a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people in the comments saying, hey, man, let's do another tape breakdown. So that's what we'll continue to dive into. Really, really excited about that. So let's waste no time. And like I said, Emilio will join us shortly, but let's get into Jordan Love insights. All right. So I've seen a tweet come across, and this is from, I hope I'm saying this name correctly, Felipe Reyes Acetti. I hope I'm saying that right. Tweeted this out. Make sure you go give him a follow at ACETI_FELIPE. So at Acetti_Felipe, I think is how you say it. So this is cool. He says Jordan Love's 3.5% turnover-worthy play rate while facing pressure is the second lowest rate for a Packers quarterback in the last 10 seasons. Think about that. All right. And again, this tweet was tweeted out, or X was posted out on January the 2nd of this year. Okay. So this is legit from last season. Minimum 50 dropbacks. Okay. Jordan Love's 3.5% turnover worthy play rate while facing pressure. So again, pressure in his face. Okay. Whether or not he makes a turnover worthy play or not. All right. 3.5%. The second lowest rate for a Packers quarterback in the last 10 seasons. The only one with a lower turnover-worthy play rate was 2018 Aaron Rodgers at 2%. Pretty wild. Again, minimum of 50 dropbacks. So you're probably saying, well, Clayton, man, how do you have 11 interceptions, right? I think he might have had a fumble or two as well. I'm not 100% sure. Well, when I look at those plays, there's a handful of them, very, very minimal, in my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right and anyone else is wrong. But in my opinion, there's a handful of those plays where it's like, you got to take a shot here, man. You got to try to make something happen. Like the one that comes to mind is the Philly game, the playoffs, where he takes the deep shot to Dontavion Wicks. Cornerback's got his back to the ball, gives Wicks a shot. Nothing else was really working for offense. As you guys know, the defense kind of held their own. The offense struggled in that playoff game, obviously with the offensive line becoming banged up as the game went on. But like that play, I don't chalk that up as a negative play. That's giving your guy a shot to go make a play. And the cornerback made one hell of a play. And if anything, I give an extra negative mark, not to pile on, but Dontavion Wicks not turning into a DB and batting that ball down, right? Just kind of let the cornerback make a play as the cornerback swiveled his head around at the last second and just made a heck of a play. So you got a couple of those, but don't get me wrong. There were several times where Jordan was just trying to do too much. And I don't want to continue to use this as an excuse, but in some of those plays, you could see, man, if Jordan was healthy, if Jordan had two healthy legs, and also he dealt with the nerve issue, I think, where he hit his elbow on a helmet, I believe it was, and he lost feeling in some of his fingers a little later in the season. There was at least one or two games that affected. He also had the groin injury, which I think was a byproduct of having to wear the brace for the knee injury he sustained in week 1. I say all that because it doesn't mean Jordan would have played perfect. And I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like Jordan would have went back to the back half of 2023 where he was just absolutely dominant. Literally a 9-game run that not even Aaron Rodgers ever did in Green Bay. That's wild to think about, statistically speaking. And again, half a season don't win you a Lombardi, right? You got to put the whole thing together. But the more time that goes by, and I've said all along here this year, Jordan Love's franchise quarterback. I believe that. I've heard enough people that I respect that's been around the game, whether they're former general managers, former coaches, people who coach now, former players. They go, that kid's, he's got it. He's a dude. So I think he's a franchise quarterback. However, the more we dive into the offseason, we see numbers like this from Felipe and some of the others we're going to get into a little bit. I'm more convinced now than I was at the end of the year that, yeah, Jordan's a dude. Jordan's a dude. And I think what we'll get is, I think we'll get away from that 11 interception season. And it may not be much. It might be 9. He may cut it down to 9. He may cut it down to 7, right? If he cuts it down to 7 and he flirts with 40 touchdowns on the year, he's going to be an MVP candidate. Whether he'll win it or not, who cares, right? I'm more interested in the Lombardi, but simply saying, I think he can clean that up. I think he can get that a little bit closer to the back half of 2023. And you take that with the receivers, hopefully, doing a better job of catching and securing the ball, right? I think you're going to put yourself in a position to be great this year. I really do. So I'm a believer in Jordan. I really am. Now, 12th in passer rating. Again, I'm running all these numbers through the filter of, this dude was basically playing on one leg, all year long. And I know there's some people that still kind of beat that drum and say, well, he was healthy by then. He was never healthy all year long. You could see him limping down the stretch of the final few games of the season as well. But he finished 12th in passer rating at 96.7. All right. Now, you guys know all along, I've kind of said too that I feel like he's top 15. I don't feel comfortable after last year, just slam dunk, lock, he's a top 10 quarterback. But again, history suggests he is, because when he was healthy, he was playing like a top 3 quarterback at the end of the 2023 season. So with all that being said, finishing 12th in passer rating when targeted, with a bad knee, a bad groin, and arm issues, obviously elbow issues, whatever you want to call it down the stretch, and playing with the, receivers, to the best of my knowledge, last I heard, they were either first or second in drops. Now, you guys know how I feel about the drops. Some people count drops that I don't think are drops. I mean, if the quarterback misses the target and the guy's got to lay out, I seen it again today, and I'm not going to shout anybody out. I'm going to try to stay calm today after we went off on ESPN Milwaukee yesterday and embarrassed myself. But the way when a receiver has to lay out for a pass, I'm sorry, I'm not counting that as a drop. That's an inaccurate throw, right? So you had some of that he needs to clean up as well. So if the receivers fix the drop issue, you're going to see that passer rating of Jordan Love where he finished 12th at 96.7. And by the way, look at Brock Purdy behind him at 96.1. You guys know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I think he's a great quarterback. Matthew Stafford at 15 at 93.7, right? What you're going to see with Jordan is I think you should see him crack into the hundreds and maybe even flirt with that 102, 103 range and get right up there around the top 5. I think he's got that in him. I really, really do, man. Really do. And I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat here, guys. I apologize when you're flying solo. I've said this 1,000 times. It's kind of hard to keep up with it, So appreciate everybody. I see the conversation going on in there. So next, 5th in yards per pass attempt. Now, what does that mean? It's exactly what it sounds like. These are the quarterbacks that were chucking the ball deep, right? So yards per pass attempt. Now, not necessarily chucking it deep, but per pass attempt, right? How many yards did you add? Every time you told your quarterback, throw the football, on average, how many yards did you gain? So this doesn't really have anything to do with air yards. I'm sure there's a lot of air yards involved in this statistic, but what it tells you is how not necessarily efficient. I guess efficiency is baked into that number too, but it's how dangerous were you as a quarterback? Because the object of the game obviously is to move the ball down the field. And when you're top 5 in yards per pass attempt, actually he was tied for 4th with Jalen Hurts. So the only players ahead of him, guys, was Jalen Hurts was tied with him, right? MVP candidate. Brock Purdy, who just got the bag, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson, who just absolutely lit it up. He was within 0.8 yards, right? Just a little less than a yard per pass attempt from being the best in the league in terms of yards per pass attempt. So he was very, very effective at moving the ball down the field. in terms of yards per pass attempt. So I think that's an important statistic as well. Now let's go to EPA per dropback. You guys know expected points added. You can go look up the definition and try to study and understand exactly what it means. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain it. But an EPA per dropback, this is one of those advanced metrics that the reason I like EPA, and it was new to me a few years ago, is when I found out NFL teams are using it through SIS data, which is Sports Information Solutions. And I'm sure they use some other sources as well. But EPA is kind of that new thing that teams are really focused on because it tries to put everything on a level grading scale and really shows you how effective a player was or how ineffective a player was. So Jordan Love finished 13th at a positive 0.07 EPA per dropback. Guys, what that means is he was better than most, right? Like when you finish 13th in this metric today, in last season in 2024, that's telling me, okay, you're borderline top 10. The players above him, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. You know what all those quarterbacks have in common? Every single quarterback I just listed there, and I do put Baker Mayfield in that category too because he absolutely lit it up last year, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Those are franchise quarterbacks and some of the most electric names you're going to hear in the game. Sam Darnold had a great year last year. The reality is Jordan Love had a higher EPA per dropback than Sam Darnold. Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Bo Nix, which, on a rookie scale, had a really good year, I think, as a rookie. I mean, he finished with 29 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,700 yards. But Jordan Love, again, on one leg, well, with the bad knee, the bad groin, and the throwing arm, still finished at a plus 0.07, 13th in EPA per dropback. So diving into it again, like I said, I don't feel comfortable based off what we've seen last year saying he's a slam dunk top 10. If you make that argument, I can understand where you're coming from. I get it. But healthy, I think he's going to be closer to top 5. I really do. Moving along, deep pass attempt percentage. This was the number I was trying to get to a while ago when I was talking about this. So think about his completion percentage and his passer rating, right? All that stuff. His completion percentage was down a little bit. I think it was at 63.1%. Now, let me put that into perspective. Some people see 63% and they go, that's horrible, right? Look at Anthony Richardson at 47.7%. And he's the only quarterback that had a higher deep pass percentage than Jordan Love. Why do I mention that? Guys, he completed 63% of his passes while throwing 14.4% of the time he was throwing deep balls. So think about that. If he was just dink and dunk, whatever you call it, check down Charlie, like some of the, a good chunk of the offenses are in the NFL, there's no doubt in my mind his completion percentage would have been up there around 67, 68%. But the fact that he had 14.4% of his throws deep and still finished with a 63.1 completion percentage, that's where you kind of got to slow down and go, hey, all right. He must have been pretty darn effective. Now, who's to blame for those deep percentages? As if it's a bad thing when they connect, it's the greatest thing in the world. But when you don't succeed, we as fans are always complaining. But with the deep percentage, yeah, Matt LaFleur likes to be aggressive, but I got Emilio joining me now. We broke down the tape all year last year. Chalk Talks out there every single game. And there were several times where I remember saying, man, you got to check it down here. Look at this right here, guys. He got to the check down late and then decided to chuck it deep, right? Those are things that over time with more snaps being the starter, now this will be his third year under his belt, right? Going into his third year, I should say, as a starter. You're going to get better at that stuff. That's one of the knocks, one of the few knocks I have on Jordan Love where I go, need to work on that. Got to get to the answer to the question a lot sooner and find those check downs when you don't feel comfortable taking those deep shots. Right. Amelia, I don't know how much you heard of what we just covered. I can scroll back up or what have you. Want to get your take on this, though, for sure. I'm just kind of pointing out some stats that a lot of times people don't mention. And for me, they're important, man. Just a quick little recap. 12th in passer rating. He was 5th in yards per pass attempt. You guys know how I feel about that. Big stat there. 13th in EPA per drop back, right? Deep pass attempt percentage. He was 2nd in there. So, what's your take on those numbers there, Emilio? Anything stick out to you, man?
Yeah, I love that he's able to push the ball down the field. But we have 425 attempts, so he's not going crazy on that, but he's able to get it done. Drop percentage, second highest, right? Anthony Richardson, tough. We watched that happen. He's kind of just chucking it up there to Pierce and hoping for something to happen, right? So I like that Mac can kind of scheme some of that. I love that he's right next to Josh Allen, another staple quarterback. Bills fans live off of Josh Allen, so the fact that Jordan's up there with him, I love that. And really the fact that he's closing in on the top 10. We talked about it last year. Like, he just never got the respect, but CJ Stroud was like the best quarterback ever, right? CJ Stroud was going to be a top 10. CJ had a bad second year. And then, let's start talking about maybe Jordan Love could be that next top 10. It's just like, he didn't get the respect then. Now he's starting to get a little bit of it, but I love that he's able to still move the ball down with the injuries. Didn't really make any complaints about it. Not like it's Matt's fault. Not like he'd be putting it on himself if there was any issues, right? Even if there was an injury, whatever, bad pass, that was on me. I should have made it easier for him to catch it, kind of thing. That's all we want in a leader and a quarterback.
Yeah, completely agree. So again, man, my conclusion here, and it's funny you mentioned Anthony Richardson chucking up to Alec Pierce, guys. Alec Pierce was the only wide receiver in the NFL that had a higher, with the minimal snaps, obviously, or attempts, I should say. He's the only receiver that had a higher yard per reception than Christian Watson. Christian Watson finished with a 21.4 yards per reception, and Alec Pierce, I think, finished at like 22.3 or somewhere around that range. So, like you said, compare his deep percentage throws, right? So what I'm saying is, like, Anthony Richardson threw it basically 6% more deep than Jordan, yet Christian Watson was right on the heels of Alec Pierce for most yards per reception. I can't wait to get Christian Watson back, man. Really,
it's just taking better looks, taking better options. You're running the numbers in the game. He's running through all that in 3 seconds in his head. Which one's my best percentage of making this play happen? If he's not open, where am I putting this thing?
Exactly.
And I just love that he has that processing speed now, and working on the little footwork, all those little things. I'm excited to see. I'm sure he took that from Aaron. What's the one thing you worked on this year? This offseason, let's kind of see some of that stuff. Excited for the first interview.
Yeah. So again, just a little bit different look at Jordan Love, and that's why I feel more confident after going through all the deep analytics and everything. I feel more confident in Jordan Love being able to take a step forward this year than I did, really coming into this last couple of weeks. Not that I was down on him, but it's just like, yeah, he was banged up. I think he's going to be just fine. So there you go. A little Jordan Love talk. Let's jump into some free agency talk here, Emilio, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I like to do this whenever we add players in free agency. I like to kind of look at, some people will say, did they make their team better? Or look at who they signed, and that's all they'll focus on. But they won't focus on who they lost as well. So, like, you'll hear the signings that, like, Detroit made this year, right? And I heard somebody earlier today, I can't remember what sports talk it was there locally in Wisconsin, but somebody had said something along the lines of Detroit took everybody in the North took a step forward other than Green Bay. And they said Detroit took a step forward. I'm going, how did Detroit take a step forward? Somebody help me with this. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. Would you be willing to bet the farm that Aiden Hutchinson's going to be better this year than he was previously before the injury?
No.
I wouldn't. Okay. Would you be willing to say that the offensive line is in a better shape without Frank Ragnow than previously?
I'm going to say no to that one as well.
You see what I'm saying? And on top of that, they won. What'd they win? They win 14 games or 15 games?
15, right? They had one more than the Vikings.
Yeah. So if they won 15 games last year and you're saying they took a step forward, then you got to be telling me you think they're going to win 16 games. Bet the farm on that, Hosscat.
Right.
Nobody's willing to do that. So stop blowing smoke as if they took this step forward. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, too. They also lost Ben Johnson. Do you think that helps them or hurts them?
Right. Just because the offensive coordinator is coming from the same, coaching tree or whatever, he was under Ben Johnson, does not mean absolutely anything compared to what this team could be this year. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you can say that he's going to bring that same heat of Ben Johnson. He could call games differently. He could see things differently. And then him transferring from whatever he was before, passing game coordinator, run game coordinator, whatever. Now you're worried about the whole offense. You're worried how the O-line's moving. You're worried about, your quarterback, all these things that, it's an unknown at this point.
It really is, man. It really is. So, again, I think they took a step. We didn't even mention Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, a great defense.
Don't even need to, because the offense has already got enough stuff going on over there that Dan Campbell better step up this year. Absolutely.
All right, so here are the free agency additions and subtractions. I like how PFF set this up, so if you could see this okay. It's showing the 2026 assets for next year. Cap space, $35.5 million for the Packers. That is fifth most in the league, okay? Now, additions / re-signings, okay? Aaron Banks, and these are just top three against the top three, all right? Aaron Banks was the 72nd ranked, according to PFF, free agent that was available. Mecole Hardman was the 114th ranked free agent available, and Nate Hobbs was the 85th ranked free agent available, okay? Now, who did we lose? We lost Eric Stokes, who they seen as the 188th ranked free agent, Josh Myers, who was 129th, and TJ Slayton, who was 201. Now, whether you agree with those rankings or not, I haven't seen any other free agency rankings. This is just easy to grab off PFF's site. But when you look at the net gain there, think about this. Aaron Banks in place of Josh Myers. You went from 129 and improved to 72. I don't know how many, what would that be? Roughly 47 spots. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So you improve there, and we know he's not going to be playing center. Elton's going to play center, but that's the trade-off there. You traded Eric Stokes for Nate Hobbs. Eric Stokes was 188th on their ranking in free agency. Nate Hobbs is 85th. So you jumped 100 spots there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then TJ Slayton, obviously we're not going to compare apples to apples here with Mecole Hardman. A little bit different body build there. You know what I'm saying?
They're pretty similar. TJ slimmed down a little bit.
I think Mecole Hardman could play zero tech, right? I think he can.
Oh, yeah. Everybody did back in Pee Wee, Clay. I mean, you had the nose guard was always like 20 pounds, man. You just tell him to get in there.
Exactly. So TJ Slayton was 201st, and everybody's looking at Mecole Hardman like that signing was just chopped liver. Mm-hmm. They had him ranked 114th, better than any of the players that we lost. So the point is, according to PFF, and again, it's not the gospel. You guys know how I feel about it. My goodness, man, you improved tremendously in free agency.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a positive across the board. No matter how you're kind of looking at the numbers, even if you didn't go off that rankings, I'm sure you could pull some of the pass block sets. I'm sure you could pull some coverage stats, from Eric Stokes versus Nate Hobbs. So beyond just looking at the ranking numbers, you could kind of back that up with some data. It's just like you said, we're not going to go digging that up just to build it for this. But looking at what Goody did is, hey, we're moving in a positive direction. We're always trying to get better. You don't, sometimes you don't need to pay top dollar. Sometimes you do. And right. Sometimes you have to move on from somebody. Like, look at Eric Stokes, first round pick, Josh Myers, second round pick. Right. So you have to be able to move on from either your mistakes or things that just didn't work out that you had previously decided on.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because you guys know I say that all the time. I say the only thing worse than making a bad draft pick is refusing to admit you made a bad draft pick.
Right.
Goody turned the corner here. He realized Josh Myers was a bad pick, Eric Stokes was a bad pick. And it'd be real easy to try to kind of reaffirm that, hey, I made the right decision, so I'm going to re-sign these guys, because that is a lot. You'll look 5-10 years down the road. 10's a little long. You'll look 5 years down the road and go, how good was this draft class? Well, they're no longer on the roster, right? So it's easy to try to get some current praise by re-signing someone as if, no, he's better than we think he is. So you got to tip your cap to Goody for lowering the ego and saying, hey, we missed on these guys. I think that's absolutely huge. CJN in the chat says, watched a certain podcast the other day, and they were saying that Aaron Banks' addition wasn't that big of a deal because he wasn't that good. I think I heard the same pod, CJN. And what are they gauging it off of? You know what I mean? Like, I try to put myself in people's shoes, and I can't remember how many sacks Aaron Banks allowed. You guys might know the number right offhand, but it was that was one of the statistics. Like, dang, he didn't allow hardly any sacks. And you look at a guy that obviously they're wanting to get bigger, much bigger than they have in the past. PFF has him at 6'5", 325. I heard some people say he's 6'6". I don't know. But you seem to be going larger with this new offensive line, drafting Anthony Belton and then going with Aaron Banks. So you're kind of going to that bully ball mode with duo and what Philly likes to do with that bigger offensive line as well. But, I mean, when you look at what he did last year, a 65.4, that's a solid grade in PFF. That's basically, if I remember correctly, that's above average. So you're saying, okay, he's an above average left guard, and they feel like they can get more out of it. That's what it comes down to. So what it tells me is they had a big draft grade on him coming out when he came out in the draft. Because that's the first thing that these general managers do when a player's available in free agency. As you guys know, they'll immediately go back to their draft grades. Here's the grade we had on him. Then they go watch the tape of him in the NFL. Oh, we can work with that. Or, nah, we missed on that. We have no interest in it.
You ready for his numbers?
Let's hear it, man.
775 offensive snaps, 54th out of 136. Penalties, 5, 91st out of 136. That I would like cleaned up a little bit. I was harping on penalties last year, so we need to clean that up. Sacks allowed, 1. 51st out of 136. So obviously he's going to be, sandwiched in with a bunch of other people. But 1 sack. I mean, so you're how many did Josh Myers give up? Do we not remember chalk talking when Josh Myers pulled right and then looped back around and was just in the turnstile looking at Jordan like, wow, dude, what a throw.
Yeah, exactly, man. So I thank you for pulling up. I thought I didn't want to misspeak, but I thought it was 1 sack was all he allowed. So thank you for looking that up. Andy Monday in the chat said the Banks critics need to consider the context of replacing Myers with Jenkins. Plus the Banks injury was noticeable. So there you go. Holmes MD1. Yeah, Banks balled before he got hurt. So again, I think this is a significant upgrade over Josh Myers.
Right.
I really do.
And to the Banks injury, like, okay, where we say that Goody doesn't take shots on, people with injuries, bam. I mean, you signed a guy after an injury. It's just the fact that maybe we gave Josh too many shots. It's so you're just kind of looking at everything with a grain of salt when you're kind of taking a step back before the season. Like, all right, you had to do it. You had to move on from Josh. You brought in Aaron Banks. Okay, now we need to find a center. You got to move on from Josh Myers. Like, these just processes that have to happen.
Yeah. Chase Green says, Clayton, I want to pull and guard on counter. If he is okay in pass pro, that is all right. Jacobs on counter plays can produce. And there were several clips. I remember when we signed Aaron Banks, there were people pulling some tape. And that'd be a fun one to try to – if we're running out of time, camp's pretty much here. But I remember seeing him downfield. I do.
Yeah.
He's a big old boy. Could you imagine 6'5", 325 pounds running at you full sprint?
Linebackers are out there like,
get ready to go.
They're like, get ready to go home. I ain't trying to hit this big hog mouth. Lord have mercy. As Holmes says, pin and pull. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, moving along. Mecole Hardman. Look at these PFF grades, man. This surprised the heck out of me. Starting in 2019, these are his career PFF grades. 68, 69, 70, 68, 2023, 55. However, minimal snaps there. It looks like he got banged up. And then last year he got hurt as well. 72.8 before he got hurt. How many snaps did he play last year? Where's that total snaps up? It looked like it's about, 100? The way they got him lined up here. Backfield, not slot. So he was in the slot 43 times. He was out wide 64 times, inline 1, backfield 6. So you're looking at about 70 to 80 snaps he got last year. So it's not like a extremely low sample size. It'd be different if it was 20 snaps, 30 snaps. But he's still playing. I mean, that's the highest grade he's had of his entire career so far. We know he's a speed demon. He can contribute on special teams. I love this because it gives you another option. For me, get Jaden Reed off the return team. He's too valuable at the F position. And let's let Mecole Hardman become the return guy and obviously a speed guy who can play F. We've seen that kind of their slot role, their moving Z up there in Kansas City, or down there in Kansas City, I should say. And you've also seen him take the top off of defenses as well. I like this signing, guys. You're talking about minimal cap hit too. The veteran minimum, to the best of my knowledge. So really like this signing here.
Looking at his snaps, looks like he had 74 pass snaps with 14 targets, 72 routes runs, leading with 12 receptions, so 90 receiving yards. So my only worry, Clay, on Mecole is just the run blocking. I just don't know if Matt's going to trust him to do all that stuff. But like you said, if it's a maybe a special teams thing, or maybe he just, hey, I want to, I'm fine with blocking. If you're adamant, if you want to do it, cool. It's just when you kind of get run over and it kind of messes up the play, that's the issue. But if you're out there and willing, man, I'm totally fine with it.
And we seen Bo Melton play a little backup F last year when Jaden got hurt. And there's other players that can do it. Wicks can do it. It's not ideal. Watson can do it. He did his whole rookie year, but Watson's banged up. The one that doesn't ever do it is Romeo Doubs. They just stuff him over at the X and kind of let it go.
Do your thing.
So I'm not as concerned with the run blocking, Emilio, if he plays F when Jaden Reed maybe kicks out the Z. But
I'm just saying in the aspect of like too many, like we're only keeping him like 74 out of his, or 72 out of his 74 were routes run. Like I just don't want it to be a, if like we're bringing Musgrave out there, we're passing the ball kind of thing. That's what I don't want it to turn into with McCall.
That makes sense. And for me too, when you kind of look at it, it's what I was getting at is like, it feels like he's probably going to be the reason that Bo Melton doesn't make the roster, or Bo Melton is going to be the reason he doesn't make the roster. Right. Does that make sense? So that's kind of that backup F role type thing, especially if they try to really start to work Wicks in at boundary X a little bit more. And listen, man, I'm still not ruling out that Romeo Doubs might be traded. I mean, it got leaked out. They were trying to trade him this offseason, right? So that's still kind of on the table. But I can't help but grin thinking, who's behind these guys? Oh, wait, they're not behind them. They're in front of them. Right. Matthew Golden. You know what I mean? Like, you forget that we freaking drafted a first-round wide receiver. And I get excited because we've seen what receivers who Goody drafted in the second round has done. Mm-hmm. Christian Watson, dog, Jaden Reed.
And they wanted to get Christian Watson in the first, right? It just didn't work out. So it's not like it's not like he wasn't willing to. It just didn't work out. But here, all right, now the first-round tag is on him. So everybody expects 100 times more out of him. I just want him to tear it up. I mean, he seems like a genuine dude. We were watching that fishing video after the pod last night. Dude, just super genuine, you know what I mean? So, love that.
I like him a lot, man. What I like the most about Matthew Golden as a person, I relate to this. Listen, I'm not trying to get preachy. I'm a Christian. That doesn't mean I'm holy or anything better than anybody else. It means I need some help. I'm an idiot. I'm a knucklehead. I screw up every day. I need some grace. All right, that's what that means. But Matthew Golden will post scripture and stuff. He'll tweet that out or Instagram it out.
Love that.
And then he'll be working on his craft, and I'm telling you, he sounds like a heathen. He F this, F that. He's like just so focused on the work, and I'm like, I'm not saying it's right. Some can say it's somewhat hypocritical. I relate to that because it's an everyday battle for me to try to be a little bit better person.
Right.
And to hear him have that fire and then try to turn it off, and he's going and taking kids shopping for shoes down in Texas, and he's out on the boat fishing with Baron Sorrell, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I think he's going to be a good fit. I would be very, very surprised if we look up in 3 years and go, man, we missed on Matthew Golden. I think he's really going to be a contributor. So,
can't wait.
Right. Moving along, Nate Hobbs, another addition here, and I added Isaiah Simmons in too. We'll get to it. So Nate Hobbs, a little bit different story, right? Not as consistent, although he's never graded out less than a 60. So his rookie year, his best year by far, 80.1. 2022, it was a 60. Then he jumps to a 69. Last year, he falls back to a 61. Now, I want to point out his passer rating when targeted. If he had been on the Green Bay Packers last year, he would have had the second best passer rating when targeted, only behind Carrington Valentine. He had a better passer rating when targeted than Jair Alexander. So if you're just looking at strictly passer rating when targeted, you improve there. Now, I know it's a different style of player. They've got him listed at 6'1", 195 here on PFF. He's probably going to be our starting slot corner, our nickelback, and then he's going to go kick outside in our base defense. So with Nate Hobbs, I think they're going to try to get what he showed his rookie year. And if I remember correctly, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Rich Bisaccia was the coach that year, the interim coach. You guys fact check me on that, but I think I heard somebody talking about that. So if you just get him up into the upper 60s, you understand what I'm saying? Right. That would be a nice little improvement there as well. And what wasn't on that list in terms of the net gain that we talked about, let me just say it was a positive net gain of plus 247. I'm well aware Jair Alexander wasn't on that list because these metrics came out before Jair was cut, released, or what have you. So you're going to lose some spots there. There's no doubt about it. However, I don't think anybody's trying to pretend like Jair is a solid number one cornerback based off what we've seen the last few years. Like it's not like he's elite Jair Alexander. And you guys know I wanted him back on the team for St. Philly. So just wanted to point that out. I'm not trying to skew the numbers and go, oh yeah, he conveniently left out Jair Alexander's departure. It is a hit. There's no doubt about it. But when you look at what Nate Hobbs has done, I think we're going to get the best out of this dude. I really do, man. And I'm really excited about Carrington Valentine locking up that right cornerback spot. So
absolutely. And so we had his total snaps 554 last year, so more than Ja. But his season stats: 39 solo tackles, 73rd out of 222. Interceptions, he had 1, 42nd out of 222. Pressures, 3, and receptions allowed 31. That puts him at 77. So he's right around that, second, third corner, slot corner, wherever he is. I think that's a totally fair spot. I'm almost thinking they might not even move him outside in the base there and just kind of leave Carrington and Keyshawn where they're at. Maybe rotate all three of those on a rotation just to keep them fresh. Because if you're running extra roam the whole time, running those streaks, you're going to get gassed at some point. Let's not make a mistake out there because you're dog tired hanging your head. You just don't want to come out for a snap. Let's keep everybody fresh. I think that's a power move there.
Definitely. H.E. Solder in the chat says Hobbs was only good because of Max Crosby. This is sarcasm, of course. And then who was it that said at home said Max Crosby? So CJN says, imagine if all these free agents come in and play to their best ability. OMG. Tim, I have no reason to believe that Goody don't know what the heck he's doing in free agency, man, because that dude, he is hit. Boy, oh boy, is he hit. I mean, we talked about Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney yesterday, and go back to when he signed Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, and Adrian Amos. All three of those solid contributors, starting players, went out and balled out, and they have one of the best defenses they had in a long time. Granted, it was under Mike Pettin at the time, but I'm very, very confident in Goody's ability to sign these free agents. And I think he may not hit on all of them, but if he hits on one or two, defense is going to be better. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it's almost like our GM knows what he's doing, right? Who would have thought? Exactly.
So this was interesting here. No Zach says, we like Zach. We want Zach. What do you mean no Zach? The issue with Hobbs, he's been injured as much as Ja. That's simply not true, Zach. He has not been as injured as Ja. Ja has played less than 50% of the snaps in the last 3 years. And last year, how many snaps did Ja have? Was it in the 300s, Emilio?
Yeah,
well,
I want to say it was like 320 or 350, something like that.
You said Nate Hobbs cracked 500 last year, right?
550.
Yeah. The year before, I want to say he played 700 snaps.
The year before, he played 775. And the year before that, we have him at 667. So, I mean, he is north of 500, looks like every year. In 2021, his best year, he was 837. So this past year at 550 was his lowest snaps played in a season.
Yeah. And Zach, no disrespect, man. I'm not saying that he's been healthy every snap. I understand what you're getting at, but it's not comparable to Ja's situation. It got to the point where Ja was just not available ever. So Isaiah, and the other frustrating part with that too, guys, and the reason they wanted to structure the contract the way they did rather than a roster bonus, they wanted a game by game bonus kind of scenario there with Ja, is because there were times they felt like he was healthy and he felt like he wasn't. And then, it's like the Chicago game. I believe it was the Chicago game. They activate him, right? Okay, Ja's active. He's good to go. He played like 10 snaps. Then he had to be pulled because he was still hurt. Well, guess what? I'm not trying to be, insensitive here, but now you're down a hat. You're down a hat at the cornerback position. You could have activated someone. It's not about is that player better than this player, but now you've got to really control the personnel in which you put on the field, and it shakes up your special teams as well. So it does come into play big time.
In that 2021 season, he had 54 solo tackles and 9 pressures. 9 pressures put him second out of 238 corners that year. So I think that slot is going to be huge, man. I think it really is.
And the other one here, the wild card, in my opinion, Isaiah Simmons. Listen, he's a physical freak. He was drafted, what was it, like 8th overall there in the 2020 draft. They said he could play safety, corner, and edge rusher. Now, I call BS on a lot of that, obviously, but unless he's never
the problem. They haven't found a spot for him to play.
Right. It's kind of like the whole Bill Parcells quote, right? If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. You know what I mean? If you got 2 starting quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. With Isaiah Simmons, though, I think they're really going to let him settle in and play stack backer. So his PFF grades, though, 59, 49, 67, 68, and then he was banged up last year, it looks like. I don't know how many snaps he played last year. Let's see if we get a total there. 37, 170-some snaps. So he was banged up last year. So before he got hurt last year, the previous 2 years, talking about a 67, then he improved to a 68. So you're seeing that significant, kind of that ascension that we talked about. And him having to wear multiple hats, and that's his words, not mine. He's really excited about finally getting to settle into playing one position, which is going to be stack backer in this defense. I would not be surprised at all if he completely passes up Isaiah McDuffie on the depth chart. And if he beats out Tyron Hopper, too, and he's the 3rd best linebacker, put him on the field, man. Put him on the field. Now, there's always a chance, too, here, Tim, that he may get cut. He may not make the roster, right? Same thing with Mecole Hardman. But I think based off of what you got there in the bang for your buck in terms of another minimum contract, we talked about Goody going out and get 2 high-profile free agents spending pretty big money, right? And we talked about him drafting a wide receiver in the first round for the first time in 23 years or whatever it was. And then on top of that, he went out and got a couple bargain bin free agents as well. So no one can sit here and say Goody is
Isaiah Simmons and it's so true, man. Like, I think that goes under the radar, right? Isaiah Simmons acquisition, that's probably one of Goody's more under the radar moves. Bringing in Aaron Banks was huge for our O-line. There's another great free agent move. So, Goody gets a lot of heat, and I don't understand why. I think Simmons is a great signing. I think Mecole Hardman's a great signing. And like you said, time will tell if they make this team. But bottom line, man, you're making yourself better, and that's what you want your GM to do.
Definitely. Deadfish says Simmons had a 4.39 40, and as Holmes pointed out, Simmons is the fastest backer in that room, and it's not even that close. So, I mean, think about that. He is faster than Edger and Cooper. He's faster than Quay, both physical freaks, So, going to be interesting, man. So, again, that's just kind of a quick little recap just to show net gain in free agency minus Jair Alexander, but pretty significant what we did there. We improved from Josh Myers to Aaron Banks, from 129th ranked free agent to 72nd. You improved from Eric Stokes being the 188th cornerback. You pick up Nate Hobbs at 85. Again, this doesn't include Jair Alexander, but get some kind of echo there, boys. Somebody's side. Must have been you, Tim. Yeah, see, you muted there. But so, yeah, you see a significant improvement, in my opinion, on the players they lost and the players they picked up. So, anything else on the free agent talk?
Even to Isaiah Simmons, just the last point. From last year, he had 181 snaps, 14 solo tackles. That's just shy of 13% of the time he's getting a solo. He had under 200 snaps. He got 14 tackles. I love that. And he forced a fumble, which put him 15th out of 189 backers. So out of, just shy of 200 snaps, you'd had basically 15 tackles and a forced fumble. I love that. I mean, you're around the ball, you're active, you don't care. That's where we need you to be.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour 2, where we're going to break down a little film study on our boy Brenton Cox Jr. We'll see you on the other side. Appreciate you.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour 2. Let's get into it, boys. I want to put this tweet up on the screen first because I ran some numbers earlier. Now, listen, don't take this the wrong way. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that Brenton Cox Jr. is better than Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby, or TJ Watt. But I just want to put things into perspective here a little bit, all right? Brenton Cox Jr. finished 23rd in the NFL, 23rd, with a 13.7% quarterback pressure rate. That's amongst defensive linemen, okay? Adding 4 sacks and 9 run stops. Guys, he only played 156 snaps. So I ran down the percentages here. Quarterback pressure percentage, he finished 23rd at 13.7%. Okay, he led the Packers in quarterback pressure percentage. Max Crosby, 12.3%. TJ Watt, 9.3%. So Brenton Cox Jr., granted, 156 total snaps on defense. That includes run defense and pass defense, right? Pass rushes. He finished with a higher quarterback pressure percentage than both Max Crosby and TJ Watt. Sack rate. People, I don't care about pressure. You got to finish. You got to get the sack.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Sack rate, 4%. Trey Hendrickson also had a 4% sack rate. A lot more snaps, don't get me wrong. Max Crosby, 1.7%. TJ Watt, 2%. I pause for dramatic effect.
Absolutely.
I mean, and again, as he gets more snaps, those numbers, naturally are going to go down, right? If he'd had a bunch more snaps, it's hard to kind of keep that rate. Who's to say it wouldn't go up? But history says his numbers would go down, percentage would go down, sack rate would go down. Let's go to run stop rate. This was his knock, guys. This was the negative aspect of his game last year or the year before last, 2023, is he'd run himself out of the run fits. He wouldn't be gap sound. He'd be too aggressive, focused on the pass. Jeff Hafley steps in. Everybody's pressure percentage numbers go down. All of a sudden, the run defense gets better. And you look up and Brenton Cox Jr. ends with a run stop rate of 15%. I repeat, run stop rate 15%. Trey Hendrickson, 14%. Max Crosby, 14%. So again, only 156 snaps, but he was better than Max Crosby and TJ Watt at quarterback pressure percentage. He was better than Max Crosby and TJ Watt at sack percentage. He tied Trey Hendrickson. And run stop rate, he was better than Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. I didn't have time to run TJ Watts. So just wanted to point that out. It doesn't say that he's a better player than those guys. It doesn't. But what it does say is get this guy some more snaps and let's find out if he's as good as those guys. So I want to get your all's thoughts on that before we get into Chalk Talk here. We'll show you what he did.
I'm glad you're not cherry picking stats, Clay. Just to make your point. And that's what you got to bring the receipts right there, and you see it. You ask Max Crosby to do all this stuff. He's out there for 98% of the snaps, and you see what happens when you get him worn down. You get a fresh human meat missile out there, and I think that you kind of see the difference. Obviously, we had the new coach. We'll see where everybody gets to this year, but I love that we stopped the run because we heard about that forever, and kind of keep everything in front of you. Let's make them make a mistake. We get the turnovers. You'll eventually get the pressure, and you saw what happened at the end of the year when the defense was top 10. So it all ended up working out, even though we didn't have that immediate satisfaction that most are out there kind of looking for.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim. What's your take, bub?
I think looking at this, I know why Goody moved on from TJ Slayton. We could have paid TJ and kept him around. You start to see this, you start to see the future of what it's going to look like in the trenches. And I'm ready for Brenton Cox Jr. to go off this year. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, and some people see Carl Brooks as an edge defender because he played edge at Bowling Green, I believe,
Yep.
and it was kind of free. But look at this screen grab right here. Brenton Cox Jr. playing a wide 9, or you could call it a 7 tech if you want. Look who's in the 1 tech, Carl Brooks.
94.
So they actually had him on passing situations playing nose, right? And then, of course, wide in the 3 tech that we talked about in this specific play here. So anyway, we'll drop that down now and go ahead and get into Chalk Talk. Guys, as always, full disclaimer here, the stream may go down, okay? It may the AI may detect a copyright. If it does, the stream will go down. It'll come back up. However, if you want to prevent that from happening, you can just join us on X or Rumble at Packers_access, or go over to Rumble Packer Fan Total Access. However, I feel comfortable saying it's going to stay up the entire show. But if it does go down, no, we will edit this out as well and put it up in a separate video so y'all can watch it later. Y'all ready to get into it, boys?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
So here we are. This is the particular set here, like we talked about. They're playing kind of to me, I would call it an underlook. You're on the boundary. You're shaded toward the boundary side underneath the tight end, in my opinion, as opposed to over. But nonetheless, don't really matter in this situation. You've got our boy Brenton Cox Jr. on the left here, lining up 3-point stance. That's a 7 tech, right? Why is it a 7 tech? 0, 2, 4, 6. He is on the outside shoulder of the 6. That makes it a 7 tech. All right, let's watch our boy go to work here. We'll show his sacks first. Caleb running a naked boot. It's like taking Mountain Dew from a baby. Bang. Well, listen, Brenton Cox Jr. didn't do anything special there, right? He just took what they gave him. But he was not biting on that play fake, was he, boys?
No point. I got enough guys over there to worry about it. Let's just get after him. When you get that opportunity on a naked boot, man, poor Caleb didn't sell it. You got to take advantage of that.
It's true. There's a lot of things he doesn't do well, man. I'm telling you.
You can sell the hell out of a McFlurry, though, with extra Oreo.
That's so true, Tim.
It'll move it, Tim. I know you did. So there's one of the first sacks we're going to show here. All right, again, naked boot, and he just cleans it up. And again, last year he may have bit on the play fake, right, and got completely washed out of the play. Like you said, Emilio, he knew I got the hat count, right? We're good over there. Let me protect against the boot. So, all right, up next, we got him again. This time it looks like he's in a wide 9 tech. Now they're going – this is against Miami. This is on Thanksgiving night. So you can see they got a little wing look here with the running back. Let's see if they use any kind of motion. They did, of course. They cheated out the Y. So what you've got here is –
Wasn't that wide set that Saleh used to run or whatever, where we had nobody over 3 through 3 and you had everybody 5 and over?
Absolutely. So you got double wide 9, and then you got a 4 tech, and then you've got what I would consider – I'd call it a 3. Or I'm sorry, a 4-eye.
4-eye.
So you got a straight 4, a 4-eye, and a double 9 is what you got here, right? So let's roll the tape here. This one, though, a little dip and rip. I mean, boys, that's a hell of a pass rush right there. Again, off the line, punch, dip, rip. He didn't even really rip, and that protected him.
I think that was a pull.
Yeah, a little pull down.
Get off of me, my man.
Yep. And again, you notice how he didn't rip his arm up, right? I was looking for the rip, but he didn't actually rip. As long as you don't pull that arm up and they hold you, they can get called for holding. If you rip up, they're allowed to hold.
Right. Like look at Devontae Wyatt on the inside with the spin, and he's trying to rip in, and the dude's just kind of hooking him with his left.
Yeah. Again, when you hook that arm up, they're free game to grab it.
Yep.
So that's a rule that changed a little while back. But again, man, the thing that sticks out to you here, man, good off the line. Like you said, good eye there, Emilio, grabbing a little punch and pull. But look at the offensive lineman, man. Somebody screenshot it. Tag me on Twitter. That right there is what you're looking for. That's embarrassing.
Dude, and it didn't even look like, when you go back, it didn't even look like the O-lineman was that far over his skis or anything like that. Like, he had a decent base, but that's what happens when you can spread it out, go four out into into your wide 9s. You get one-on-one matchups on the outside. You force that center to make a decision. Everybody's one-on-one. Just beat your man. This is where, where people are complaining that we're not getting enough pass rush. Straight up 4-man rush. That's all we need. This is what our defense needs to be.
Yeah. Now watch Kenny this time, Tim. We talked about it all year long, right? Why didn't Kenny have any sacks? He is not rushing the quarterback, boys. Look at him. That's a touch spy. He is making sure Tua can't scramble. And look at the end there. Imagine that Brenton Cox Jr. doesn't hit home. Look who's making the tackle here.
Okay.
Kenny. That's what we need by touch spy.
That was my point. Is like, I don't think any of us would argue with the fact that Tua is probably top 10 for mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. This is a guy that can wiggle out of there. And clearly, looking at this tape right here, we took that away from him.
Yep, definitely. And again, Wyatt, man, little spin move. Almost got a hand on him. You seen him swatting at the ball.
It almost looked like he kind of let the defensive right side or whatever go off. Like, let's have Devontae and Brenton Cox go off. Let's have Kenny and LVN kind of occupy your guy. I just love it, man.
Yeah. So again, I'm glad we hit this. And I didn't notice the touch spy until we broke it down here. But that's what we're talking about with Kenny. When you hear me say touch spy, that's what we're talking about. He's not pinning his ears back and rushing upfield. Eyes on the quarterback. Occupy a double team. Eyes on the quarterback. Make sure you take the scramble, the rush lane away.
And just at LVN real fast. Imagine he can just set up that fake power bowl. Man, he had the tackle just waiting to catch him. You give him a little fake step in there, dip underneath, or slip around. I think his pass rush game this year is going to be a lot different. You
know what sticks out to me there too, Emilio, is it feels like LVN is kind of playing outside leverage there a little bit. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's where I was like, I think they wanted Brenton Cox and Devontae Wyatt to actually rush. We'll have Kenny and LVN kind of hold them to the side. Exactly. Tua is a lefty quarterback. So the two guys that are on spy are on the front side of Tua. You got the two guys going off on his his blind side. Yeah. And with LVN, it's just compress the pocket. Don't give up the edge in case he scrambles left. Kenny, you cover the scramble right. Brenton, you go after the quarterback. Devontae, you work inside as well. So you're trying to trap them into scrambling right into another defender. Is essentially what you're doing. So, all right, up next, I think we got another sack coming up here too, boys. Yep. All right, so here we are in a wide 9. Look at this. And I want to say this about Brenton Cox Jr., guys. He came in, he was kind of a hybrid backer. He could play stack backer. And from day one, Matt LaFleur seen him as a pass rusher. And I say Matt LaFleur specifically because we've gone through multiple defensive coordinators now, right? Or at least a couple. So to me, it looks like he's thickened up a little bit, right? I think he's put on a little bit of weight and he's playing that traditional defensive end spot.
Exactly, Coach. These wide nines and these sevens. So here's that look again, Emilio. You see it?
Yep.
4-eye.
The wide set. We talked about that at the beginning of the year last year was, what are we going to kind of see? We saw that with the Jets a lot. Maybe he was able to bring that over, but that double wide look puts the center in a bind.
Yeah. So you got a 9, a 4-eye, a 4-tech, and then another 9, right? And it's obviously a passing situation. You're not going to show that if there's a chance of them running the football. So, again, these people that claim that we had no pass rush, well, our pass rush was bad on early downs because you're protecting against a run. You get into a situation like this, widen that thing out, and go after the quarterback. Let's watch them do it here. So, again, watch him over there from the defensive perspective, wide 9 right, just a straight bull right into the quarterback. So you're seeing power now. We've seen the punch pull, right? The punch and pull earlier. Now you're just seeing a straight bull rush. Watch the feet of the tackle, guys. I mean, he just gets dog walked. That's a straight bull rush. Right into the QB. Finish strong, too. Put him right on his hip. What do you think about it, Emilio?
I love it. We kind of saw that with LVN on the last one. Bull rush, compress the pocket. But while you're at it, man, if the quarterback's right there, just make it happen. That tackle had no chance. I mean, because that tackle, compared to LVN, when you were looking at that last one, that tackle was ready to catch LVN. This tackle was kind of still staggering his feet, wasn't sure if he's going to catch a spin or if he was going to catch a dip underneath or something like that. You catch him off guard, hit him in the mouth, you get him off centered. What I was trying to see is who's there on the right there. Is that Kingsley on the other side?
That's JJ. I was getting ready to say something. Have you noticed that every one of these sacks were shown from Brenton Cox Jr.? Gary's not on the field.
Right.
So there's something about when they take Gary off for that rotation, it's like they never – I don't want to say never, but more times than not, they make sure at least one, either Brenton Cox Jr. or Gary's on the field at all times.
Because maybe you have an explosive pass rusher, and maybe you have more of a power or more of a confined pass rusher, and you look at those and say, hey, JJ and LVN are confined or powers. You need an explosive on either side, when you're out there, and that's why we're looking at Rashawn's being at 50% play. You have to rotate them, but you always have to be able to have one or the other.
Yeah, and you'll notice in the middle there, that's what you call a torch or a TT stunt. Notice the tackles, stunt, right? Wyatt and Kenny.
Yep.
Doing a little stunt there. So, all right, good deal. Next play. I can't remember if we're getting – have we shown 4 sacks yet, or this is the last one right here? All right, so here's the final sack. Now we're getting – that ain't Gary. I was going to say we're getting Gary, but who's 53? What am I thinking? Mosby. So this time you got Mosby and Brenton Cox Jr. on the field. So all 4 of Brenton Cox Jr.'s sacks, Gary was not on the field with him. That's just make a mental note, right? There might be a reason for that. Yeah. And, again, with this tech here, we're going to go wide 9.
It could be because we were boat racing the
Could be, Tim. You're right. Could have been kicking everybody's butt by this time. So you got a double wide. I'm going to call him a wide 9 here just for, I don't know, easy lingo. 2 tech with Kenny, again, playing the nose in the nickel 4-2-5, and then Wyatt back to the 4-eye here. So, again, you got 9, 2, 4-eye, 9, probably closer to a 7, honestly, but there's no tight end there to gauge it. Let's watch our boy Brenton Cox Jr. See him smack the hands, dip underneath. Good job, help him finish. And who was that in the middle? Was that Wyatt that got the initial pressure? Let me go back here. Yeah, another TT stunt. See it?
Yeah. He got the pressure being the washout man, too.
Right. He's supposed to sacrifice himself there with the double team, and he's the one who gets his hands on the quarterback.
Yeah, well, heck, I'm already here. Might as well do something.
Yeah. Yeah, Wyatt's
might as well blow up the middle of that line.
Seriously.
Right, Tim. I'll tell you, Wyatt is I think Wyatt's going to blow up this year.
And the other thing I love is all of his sacks have come on 4 down rushers, 4 D line, 4 D linemen are rushing. There was no sim or faux pressure or anything like that. Let's just go to work, beat the man in front of you.
Yeah. So, again, there you go. Another 4-man rush, and I know there's some people that still have convinced themselves that we had to manufacture a pass rush by blitzing, and it's simply not true. We actually blitzed. I don't want to say we were the bottom 3 of the league in blitz rate. So, and a blitz is when you bring more than 4 rushers.
And look at that rush compared to the rest of them. I mean, all 4 of those guys are trying to go. There's nobody worried about catching a spy. There's nobody worrying about, and you're not really worried about your rush lanes either. Just kind of stay outside if you're outside, kind of stay inside if you're inside.
Yep. Definitely. All right. So there's his 4 sacks. Let's get in some run stops here because this is what I was most excited about. Again, we knew he could rush the passer, 2 years ago. It's just he kept running himself out of run plays. Let's watch him on these run plays here, okay? So now we got him in a wide 9. Look who's inside right here, boys. Look at LVN, Tim. You see it? I say inside. He's playing a 5 tech. He's playing a 5 tech, but to me, that's closer to playing D tackle than this is, right? Because this over here is a 4-eye. So right here, you got
Wilson up. Okay.
Yeah, you got basically a 3-man front. This is that jam front. So you got TJ Slayton playing the nose in the jam. I'm not sure who this is over here playing the 4-eye, and then you got LVN at the 5 tech, right? And
then you got Eric Wilson walked up in kind of a wide 9, but he's also got the wide receiver and a tight end in between them.
Yep. So what you're playing here, you're playing a 4-3 over essentially, and what I mean by that is the 1 tech is on the strong side of the formation. It's the strong side because here's your tight end, so you're strong right. So the 1 tech's on the strong side, and your other D tackle, if you will. And I know this is the D tackle on the roster, but the way it's shaded over and bringing Eric Wilson on the front there, you're showing a 5-man front. That's a jam essentially. A jam. Well, I take that back. Jams typically cover both guards. They're not covering the guards, but it is a 5-man front, kind of an odd front, if you will. Let's watch Brenton Cox Jr. here, though. It's going to be a running play, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Dude.
Never had a chance. Now, I want to say this. This is another thing about Caleb Williams. You as the quarterback have got to know right here. You don't have the hat count. You don't. You set the protection wrong. Whoever set that protection or the run blocking scheme completely screwed up, right? And what I mean by that is he's not accounted for. Brenton Cox Jr. is not accounted for. So when you go, this guy is bleeding outside of Brenton Cox Jr., right? These guys are doubling down on this block. This is just a free runner inside with Brenton Cox Jr. So you take what they give you, but that's on Caleb. Like, you got to be able to set that. Now look at the guard coming over. He can't get to his spot. That's doomed. And again, Brenton Cox, quick off the rush or quick off the line, dips underneath the pulling guard, make the tackle.
Right, because looking at it, your Madden cam behind it, you have your right guard and your tight end on the right side pulling across the face, and it's not a read option to Brenton Cox's side, right? Caleb's turning his back. Actually, it's more or less a counter, and you have 2 dudes getting across there. You have no space for it. You already have your numbers are messed up because of the alignment of the over. You already have that D end over your tackle, so you lose that hat count. And then the way Brenton Cox was able to stay skinny alongside that guard, you see how he pinched, stayed right behind the hip of the tackle, just took 1 step up in front of the guard, 1 step up in front of the tight end, and boom, there's the bag.
Yeah. Love that play. Tim, you see the burst off the line, don't you, from Brenton Cox here, man?
I was just going to say, he's so quick off the snap. The fact that they didn't account for him in the hat count is one thing, but the fact that he's so quick off the ball is everything.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the case here, Tim. They're expecting 79 to hit his spot, but he's so quick off the line, he just kind of beats it, You're right, though, Amelia. I think that's a counter run. For
exactly.
Sure.
And that's, dude, and that's the toughest. As a DN, that's the last thing you want to see. Somebody 320 coming at you with his head down, right, ready to just crack a skull. Because I remember playing DN. Those were the worst. You got to set your edge. He said, "Screw it, I'm not even setting the edge. I'm just going to go upfield and make the play."
Yeah. Good finish there, though. Good finish with the tackle.
Look at Caleb. Thank God it wasn't me this time.
All right. So here we are against Detroit. Let's see what kind of front we got. So tight end. So this is a strong right. On the screen, it's showing left from the defense perspective, but from the offense, you'd say strong right. They're playing under it. Notice the 1 tech, right, is on the strong side of the formation. The 3 tech is on the weak side. You see what I'm saying? So you're playing under the tight end as opposed to over the strong side of the formation. But nonetheless, they've got Brenton Cox Jr. kind of heading this thing up right here, man. Watch him on this play. Looks like it's kind of, they got a couple guys pulling like a double pull play or a zone right look almost, right?
Jeez.
Look at Brenton Cox. Hold the point of attack, shed, make the tackle. You didn't see that 2 years ago with Brenton Cox Jr. Watch it again. Watch him stay, gap sound, shed, make the tackle.
Here's the guy.
Pretty cool. LVN backside pursuit too, man. Look at LVN on this play. Look at that burst. No cutback opportunity right there.
And
No.
it looked like a zone, but it also looked like they were trying to pull 3 dudes on that play.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It looks like a zone.
It looked like if you didn't have a man across from you, I need you to get right. You know what I mean? So like the dude that was head up on Slayton turned him. The dude that was head up on was that Carl Brooks turned him. The other guys were like, all right, we need to get to the right of this formation ASAP because this is a toss play, so you need to get a couple guys out there.
Yeah, 39 Zane Anderson, right?
Sir,
look at Zane coming in off the backside too, man. Good hustle.
Yep.
Right there. So again, what you're seeing with Brenton Cox Jr. is he's playing more gap sound and he's finishing the tackle way better than he ever has while he's been in Green Bay.
He's getting blocked by a tight end though, Clayton.
Oh my God, dude. Seriously, those type of people that you're gonna get me started again. Those type of people will watch that and go, I mean, he couldn't even shed the block of the time. They'll say that. They'll say that stuff. And I'm like,
how dare you?
Thanks, Greta. You don't even realize that he is walking down the line and holding that gap, holding that point of attack and waiting, just like a running back has to wait to hit the hole, wait and take your gap and make the tackle. This is the type of stuff we're talking about.
He gets engaged. His eyes are in the backfield. His eyes are in the backfield before the snap, and they never leave. His helmet's just turned immediately. Like, okay, I'm just waiting for Gibbs to get over here.
Yep, that's it. I'm so glad you brought that up, though.
And is that Ragnow 77?
I don't know, Tim. Somebody fact check.
So 77 has to come get me.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, like, not only does Brenton Cox get off the block, he gets off the block, and then he slips that pulling center right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right here. Yep. Just patient enough, right?
Yep.
That center's not going to double him here. He's going, okay, he's got his guy. No, he didn't. Brenton was just wait and shed, make the tackle.
Boom. Love it.
All right. Now, here we go. Let's look at this set. So if this is a tight end, he's detached, right? But if we're going strong right look, you're playing under again and again. So you got right here is your 1 tech, and you got a 4 tech with a 9. So Brenton Cox Jr. is playing what I would refer to as a 7 tech. It's going to be another running play, obviously. Let's watch him here. See if the tight end goes at him. The tight end does try to seal. So let's watch. Look at his eyes already. See the stripe, Tim? Look at the helmet stripe. He is right here. He is focused right here. And I'm telling you, man, he did not do that 2 years ago.
Eyes on the prize, baby.
Look at him ride it all the way down, make the trip up tackle. He kind of slips. Not the prettiest tackle, but again, watch how he works down the line.
Right, because the tackle on Seattle
got
around.
What I talk about, refusing. Mm-hmm. He's refusing to be blocked, right?
That's it. I mean, that's all it is. Because he knows the ball's coming. His 80% of the time, ball's coming your way if the running back's opposite side of the quarterback from you in shotgun, right? So he knows that he's got a good chance it's coming this way. The tackle does get outside of him. The guard gets outside of him. He gets off that tight end block, works all the way past the numbers, and makes the tackle outside the numbers.
Watch how he gets off the tight end block, too. Tight end, first of all, is holding. Watch him grab on the outside of the shoulder pads, right? Right there, he's hugging him. Look at he just kind of punches him in the chest. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Watch it again. Watch him punch the tight end in the chest. It's very subtle, but look right here. Get off me, little boy. Bang. So, yeah, he really did. He fought through a hold there as well. I'll show you right there. See? That's a hold, boys. You can't grab. I mean, when you get the number on the back of the jersey and you're standing in front of them, that qualifies as a hold. Fights through the hold, makes a tackle. Am I the only one seeing this improved run defense from him, though? Like it's a pretty big step forward, right?
Absolutely.
All right, next set.
Yep.
Here we go. Kobe Wooden, looks like, is going to be playing a 2 tech. Slayton, I believe it is playing.
Looks like Kenny.
It might be Kenny. Let's see. Let's roll it just a little bit. That's Kenny. I'm sorry. So here's one of the rare times Kenny actually played 3 tech, right? So they put Wooden. They put Wooden in a 2 tech, Kenny in the 3. We're playing under again. You noticing that too? We're playing a lot of under on these run plays. And what I mean by under, guys, is your defensive line. Essentially, you're picking up you're picking up the hat count on the weak side of the formation. See how you got 3 over there, right, and only 1 here. That's what we're talking about. So you're kind of leaving that big void on that side. So I mean, really, you're trusting Brenton Cox Jr. to cover a lot of ground in terms of the run defense here.
That is a lot of confidence in him.
Now you got your boy Keyshawn, right, working up in the box a little bit too in the run fit. Look at this. They're pulling him again, right? Look at him already dipping. You see him dipping? He's getting skinny because he sees this big hog molly right here. Watch him dip, make the tackle. That's kind of dying slow right there. You know what I mean? Like that's going to hurt. You're sacrificing your body there to just get in there and grab that ankle.
And it's all on him.
I love how he gets chipped. He gets hit and chipped, and he still gets to the ball carrier. It's amazing.
Yep. All because of that burst off the line, Emilio, and then dipping underneath that block there, man. That's what
because he was all alone at that point. You had two doubles. You had a double on Wood and you had a double on Kenny, and you had a pulling guard in your face. Now let me just slide under that man and make the tackle. I'd love that.
Absolutely. Great play there by Brenton Cox Jr. Look at our boy Isaiah McDuffie. No, that's our boy Edgerrin Cooper. What's a start, stop, shoot? Cooper's all over the tape. Look, watch Coop, 56. Start, stop, shoot. Bang. He's so violent when he gets to the ball, man. Love it. And again, you don't see Gary on the field with any of these snaps. Are y'all noticing this?
Right.
There's not been one snap where Rashawn Gary was on the field when Brenton Cox Jr. was. And again, it could have been mop-up time, but
no, I think that's key to take note of, that he didn't have Rashawn on with him for any of these plays. Obviously, I'm sure it happened a couple times, but none of the highlight plays he made that happen by himself. And that's good old Lucas Patrick right there, 62, man. That poor guy.
It's a blast from the past, right?
Putting a turnstile right there by Brenton Cox.
Yeah. CJN said big old 62 was thinking he was going to crush. Yeah, he thought so. I bet after the play, too, he's like, that's why I'm not in Green Bay any longer. Yeah. Low whip. Which, by the way, Tim, if you'll notice on the soundboard, I got you a uke sound drop tonight, man. Anytime we say something stupid, this is what I need you to hit, Tim. Hit it for him real quick if you can see.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
We'll get a score for sure. Love Euchre. All right, so there you go. That's Brenton Cox Jr. Chalk Talk, man. What do y'all think? What did we learn? Is it fool's gold, or do you think we might have something there in Brenton Cox Jr.? Because I'm looking at him like, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I think we know what we got in Enigbare. I think Brenton Cox Jr. a little bit better than Enigbare. So for me, I would put that pass rush rotation, barring kicking any of these edge defenders inside, I would go number 1 edge defender, Rashawn Gary, number 2, Lucas Van Ness, number 3, Brenton Cox Jr., and then everyone else. Like, it's not even close after that. Now, if Brenton Cox Jr. has an awesome camp, I would be okay with him getting more reps than LVN. But I have a problem with Enigbare getting more reps than Brenton Cox Jr. Am I wrong there? How do y'all feel about that?
I think it's fair.
I was going to say, Tim, I think that's completely fair. Just because on top of that, you also don't have Preston in there anymore, too. So you do have to figure out some snaps here on the defensive side of the line that need to be filled. I think that it's completely fine. And then maybe in turn you get Brenton Cox out there with Rashawn Gary once in a while instead of just always with Mosby or whoever it is or JJ or whatever. And maybe you get a rotation in there with Barron Terrell. You never know. Colin Oliver might step in and play a couple reps outside. I do think that keeping that hockey line, I know we don't love it all the time. I think that at some point it's going to pay off. But when we're looking at it maybe at the end of the season or closing in on January and we're still maybe at 40, 50% for some guys, 30 for the others, but everybody's there, I'm not going to be mad at that.
Right. Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, I think that's part of the reason why, we didn't pay TJ Slayton. We felt like we had depth on that line, and I think we're going to get to see it this year. And, it's telling. You look at a lot of those reps, and you're right, Rashawn's not on the field. And it just shows you the depth that I think we're building on this D line. And I think we're going to see it in 2025 for sure. Yeah.
H.E. Solder in the chat says what the tape shows is how much better the Packers were at rallying to the ball. Could not agree more, Solder. You could definitely tell they put an emphasis on that. And you couple that with some of the plays you remember seeing throughout the year too, like Evan Williams arriving at the confrontation at the second level and just punching the ball out. Like, that's the stuff you did not see under Joe Barry. You could tell they put an emphasis on taking the ball. As Matt LaFleur always says, you win the ball, you win the game, right? Yep. The way it works. CJN says, I'm thinking our defense can do something special this year. And CJ, you know how I've been very vocal. Like, I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm because what they did last year was great. and I kind of expect them to take a little step back, not a huge step back, but if they take a step forward, it will be something special because, like you're saying, if you're saying they're going to be special this year, you're saying that run defense is going to be solidified as a top 3 run defense, and you're going to see the pass defense go from about the 7 to 8 mark up to the top 5. Boys, you're getting in championship defense territory, what you're getting into. That's exciting. So hope you're right there, CJ, and I'm wrong, man.
Yep.
And I'm just basing my opinion off of what I've seen in the NFL, so far. Like, you get a first-year coordinator that does well, seems like the next year they kind of all right. The league catches on a little bit, and if it's a great coordinator, they're going to adjust quick, sooner rather than later, and get it back on track. But Holmes MD1 says Brenton is good. LVN should go inside before any other edge. My top choice for going inside, if it's just strictly who would be the better inside pass rusher and even run stuffer, it would be Rashawn Gary. But to me, Gary's too valuable outside. You know what I mean, Tim? Like, I really do feel like you want to make sure Gary stays on the outside. And I agree with what Holmes is saying. If you have to choose between Brenton Cox Jr., LVN, Rashawn Gary, all those guys, who would you kick inside? I think it's LVN.
LVN.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think Rashawn's too important on that edge.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd also love to see a little bit more of that jam, right, Clay? You get LVN kind of inside there, and you still have him on the line, but you maybe walk up your backer of choice at this point. I mean, I'm fine with it. Yeah,
and you were talking about not signing TJ Slayton, Tim. I love what Gregory says. Appreciate you swinging through, Greg. He says, camp watch, Nazir Stackhouse, right? And Warren Brinson, too. Warren Brinson was –
not Stackhouse, baby.
Yeah, it's obvious that Goody had a higher draft grade on Warren Brinson than Nazir Stackhouse. But that's not to say Stackhouse won't be a dog. I mean, that would be – if you hit on one of those two, just one of them, oh, yeah, you're in good shape. You're in good shape on the defensive line, for sure.
Might be the best UDFA signing, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Could be.
Tim's going to be busy at camp, that's for sure. So,
Ron Sample says NASCAR. Get those NASCAR packages out there. We've seen it. We've seen it on the
NASCAR.
Oh, I love
package. We're going to call it the NASCAR package.
Make the T-shirt. Put it on
the ticker right next to the tequila bottle.
Put it in the merch.
Me and his money.
All right, let's see here. Craig in the chat says Gary and LVN inside, Cox and who on the outside? Man, if you were to put Gary and LVN on the inside, you're not going to like this. Give me Devontae Wyatt on the outside. I think he's doing. I want Devontae Wyatt on the field, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he's very underrated as pass rusher. I believe that. When they were talking about his what was it? Pass rush win rate was in the 90 percentile was what some people had it at. Pretty impressive. Maybe we need to do one last chalk talk on Devontae Wyatt because we did it so long ago. We might want to kind of refresh our minds of, hey, here's exactly how he played last year. What do y'all think about that? If you were to put Gary and LVN on the inside on pass rush downs, who would be opposite of Brenton Cox Jr. there, Emilio, on the outside? Who would you pick?
Yeah, I think it'd probably have to be – it'd either have to be Wyatt or I'd honestly I'd want to give Barron Sorrell a shot out there too. I mean, if it's not Wyatt, if we're going to go somebody new, I'd be fine with something like that. Because you don't want to go super light. I'd love to see Colin Oliver out there, but if you're going to go NASCAR, it's probably third and 12. But I would like a little bit of size out there. I wouldn't mind Barron Sorrell out there.
It's funny because Tim, I already forgot about Sorrell. And we were talking about him a couple episodes ago, how excited we were, right?
This is what I talk about with the depth, right? It's like sneaky deep on this line. And I'm with you, Emilio. I'm with it, man. I'd love to see him out there. I mean, Colin Oliver, maybe, passing situation, something like that. Put him out there on the edge. But I don't know, man. I like Barron Sorrell, man. I can't wait for camp. I want to see how he shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because I think he'll have a little bit more weight. I think I have just a little bit more confidence in that. Not that I don't have confidence in Oliver. I just want to see him do it a little bit before I go ahead and say, all right, I'll throw him out there in the NASCAR package. If he's going to be standing up, maybe if we're rotating, everyone's standing up, one dude down, all right, we could do something like that. But, if you're one-on-one with the edge, I just want to see what you can do. We've seen that. We just watched Brenton Cox was able to do that against, NFL tackles. So I just need to see it from Oliver. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's it. Brenton Cox Jr. Chalk Talk. Got a little bit of defensive talk in there on the backside. We covered some Jordan Love insight, some of the key statistics. I think we're kind of got me feeling a lot better about going into camp as we're 2 days away, gang. 2 days away. We got Jordan Love, Malik Willis, Sean Clifford, Taylor Elgersman. They'll be in-house. All the rookies will be back in-house, so we'll get to see some tape of them in there, running around in shorts and a helmet, getting their equipment ready. I don't know how you guys feel, man, but I just love this time of year. I mean, it's like, summer's going to be winding down soon. It's still pool days, don't get me wrong. I was out there like a beach well today, out there at the pool, but it's right around the corner. SEC Media Days just wrapped up. I'm sure Big Ten Media Days are, have either come and gone. And all right, everybody in college football going to take a week or two off, and then they're into fall camp. We're going to have preseason football here real soon. Let me look at this real quick before we wrap up. It makes me feel so good seeing it. I mean, look at this right here, guys. What is today? July 16th, right? So the first open practice to the public, right? 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday the 23rd. I believe that's open, right, Tim? Open to pub? I think that's what the yellow marks are here. So 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Lambeau time, God's time, on the 23rd. Camp opens up. And then, of course, you're going to have 3 open practices, right? Actually, 3 open practices that first week. Then the next week, 4 open practices. Boys, we're into family night. And then 1 week after that, our first preseason game, man. It's going to be awesome, man. CJN in the chat, what did he just say about that?
Oh, sorry. He said, great show as always, guys. Let's get those 12,000 subbed already. Appreciate that.
Yes. As we pointed out last couple of shows, man, the views are, we're killing it, guy. You guys are doing a great job hitting like, sub, all that stuff. If you haven't, just go ahead and hit that for us. I hate to ask, but it truly does help the channel more than you know. We've got 12,000 on average, 12,000 returning viewers to the channel, but we've only got 4,700 subs. So we'd love to get the 5K, man. That'd be cool if we could get the 5K in a blink. And you're probably thinking, it don't matter if I do. I'm telling you, it helps, man. It helps. Just take a quick second, hit that sub. And other ways to support the show. If you want to become a member of our Patreon community, really love how things are going over there and how we're growing. Patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or scan the QR code in the upper right. If you don't have Patreon, you're not familiar, just want to join here on YouTube, hit that join tab at the bottom. And what that'll do is get you entered into the giveaways we're going to be doing here. Is we're going to be giving away an autographed Kingsley Enagbare rookie card this Saturday on the show. Okay, so anybody who's a member on YouTube, member of the PTA posse there, you get custom emojis there as well. Really cool. And then also, or you're a member of the Patreon group, at least $3 tier there, everybody's name is going to go on the wheel, and we'll give that away. We'll give away an autographed Kingsley Enagbare card. And also, we're going to be giving away an autographed Amon Green jersey, autographed from pristineauctions.com. That'll be going out on family night. Just kind of kick off the year, an autographed Amon Green jersey. So, again, all you got to do is be a member on YouTube, or a member of our Patreon group, the $3 tier, and that'll enter you into that giveaway as well. So anything else, boys? We good?
I think we're good. CJN said, I can't believe I'm going to my 3rd season with this show. Appreciate you being here, CJN. And like Clay was saying, with those 12,000, man, it'd be easier to track us back down if you just hit sub and be on your way. Let's get it to 5K by family night? Gives us 2.5 weeks.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. And again, I want to say this. Yeah, I want to say this about the subs. Like, I understand when people don't sub. There's nothing more frustrating to me as a YouTube consumer. I'll see something, a video, a channel. I'm like, man, that was awesome. And my idiotic self will close out the app and then go back in. I'm like, what was the name of it? I couldn't even just go ahead and hit sub. Hit it now. Because if you're like me, man, you'll lose it quick. So anyway, there it is. We're out. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. We'll come up with a couple more good topics. If I can get time, maybe I'll try to throw us another Devontae Wyatt clip together. We'll go back through and watch that tape again. That would be a fun one. So,
nice.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button on the way out. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pat, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.